So this yoga session, we're going to begin by doing a little bit of warm-up. So going to your mat and standing on your mat. So my students have just left. This is the first time ever I'm doing a recording of a class, and my voice tone changed completely to professional yoga teacher. Okay, instead of just chatting around. So professional yoga teacher voice, we're on our mat, aren't we, guys? And let's do the alternate elbow to knee. And they're very nervous because they're worried that if they ask a question, 3 billion people or 6 billion people around the world are going to hear that question. But actually you can't see them, so you don't know who they are. There's nobody there, maybe. There's 300 people there. And if you have a question, put it down in the comments at the bottom. Okay, good. Let's do the hip joint. So can you see all right, Irina? Okay. And around the other way. Lovely. And then from side to side. Do the graceful ballerina. So I went to see a wonderful, wonderful show. Male ballerinas. They're male ballet dancers who wear tutus and do the female parts. And they were so wonderful because they have the strength to do the female parts even more. And they tried to be graceful. Some succeeded, some didn't. So let's be graceful. Lovely. And then relaxing back. And then the hip rotations. Yeah. If you want to, you can hang on to something so you don't feel so unsteady, like so. Good. And then when you've done a few, I'd like you to swing the foot backwards and forwards. Again, you could keep your arms out, keep nice and steady. Yeah, can you feel that working into the joint? Yeah. You are. You can hold on to the wall, she says. Okay. Lovely. And then breathing in, let's take the feet just underneath the hip joint and open up. And be glad. Be glad. So opening the heart, and let's open the heart some more. Out to star. Out we go. So the feet, if 12 o'clock is forward, the feet are going at 2 o'clock and at 10 o'clock. That's 12 o'clock. Okay. And then, let's see, what am I doing wrong, I think? I can take my shoulders up, that's allowed in this one. Usually isn't. Just chin down a little and radiate from the belly button. So the tailbone and the head are another 6 limbs. So a 6 limb with another 2 limbs. We're a 6-limbed star. And then imagine somebody's pulling your wrists more up and more away. Radiate now back with the arms, opening the heart. So you're going back as far as you can. You see? Good. And then bring the heels in a little. And the feet, the toes, and the heels to about there. Breathe in and bring the hands up. So they're right above you, straight. And breathing out and down to the squat, everybody's favorite pose. Not. Okay, good. Go as far as you can. So some people can naturally do it. Now you might find you're collapsing on the ankle. So just try to take the ankle out and push with the elbows. Okay. And then if you're really good at it, you can sit down and you can come up. I think I'm showing off here. I think I am. It's my party piece, this one, okay? And then coming up and breathe out and down. Lovely. So what we're going to do now is breathe in and go up again. And breathe out and go into the little horse. So the little horse, you just heel toe out a bit, but again at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock with the feet. And then we ride the horse. So remember, the knee joint doesn't go forward, it goes over the second toe, because the knee joint is a hinge joint. So if it does that, we're compromising our knees. And if it doesn't go over, what do? Bring the feet in a little. So bring the feet in a little. So we're only allowed to do this one if it goes over. It's all that. This knee is a hinge joint. Okay. Right. Yeehaw, yeehaw. Okay. And then you just go a little bit further, and it should be very interesting here. Is it interesting here on these thigh muscles? If you do go low, oh no, I get it there. You can get it on your adductors, get it on your thighs. And then you stay there for 3 hours. And you sit back on your horse. Oh, that's bad. When you sit back, very, very hard work there. Then straighten up, open back into the star. And this time we can look up and take the hands back and open right across this heart chakra. Nice open space, nice open abdominal area. Okay, good. And looking forward to the front, and breathe out, turn your left toe. Okay, turn and go a little bit down. So we're not doing the triangle, we're not doing anything sophisticated. We're just doing a tap. Go down as far as you like, a tap. You can bend the knee if you like, and a tap. Okay, so we're beginning to get the body ready a bit. Okay. See how I'm bending the knee? I'm taking it really gently. I'm not doing anything too major. Good. Come up, turn the foot so that the foot's facing away from you. If that was 12 o'clock, that foot's facing. So remember the hinge joint. The back foot is coming in a little, a tad, pointing probably at 1 o'clock over there. That's 12 o'clock. Okay, bend the knee. Have a look. Is it going over the second toe? Yeah? All right, if it is, keep it there for a moment. Take the hands onto the pelvis. Yeah? And then straighten, but don't, as you straighten, don't shift the pelvis. So that's where my pelvis is. Okay, it's going that away. As I straighten, the pelvis stays going that away. All right, and then arms out, lift the rib cage and over somewhere comfortably. Okay, just comfortably. If you can, straighten that knee. If you can't, don't worry. Okay, so if you can, straighten the knee. That's it, that's good. And arm up. Lovely. So it's non-competitive. So you don't have to go to the floor. You can go to a block. You can even go to a chair. You can go to the knee. And you try to get this arm up a little. And you look up if you can. And if that makes you feel all dizzy, you look forward. Okay, at me. Yes. Okay, lovely. And just breathe in. Let the pose work on you. Breathe in, breathe out, keep breathing. If you're in trouble, wave your hand around or shout. And then push with that hand to come up. Turn that foot round. We're going straight over to the other side, but remember, you don't have to. You could bring the feet together and shake them out. And we'll just bend that knee on the other side, over the second toe. Hands on the pelvis. Okay, keep the pelvis there as you straighten. Okay, as you straighten. Yeah, breathe in, open, and breathe out. Over. Oh, I did it wrong. Everybody back, breathe in, lift the rib cage up, shoulders up even. And we want to get that rib cage up over a bar, which is about here. So it goes up and over so we don't scrunch up the internal organs on that side. Okay, and the hand goes up to the heavens. Hello, heavens. And if possible, we look up and we breathe and we keep breathing. And this wonderful pose, Kuna Asana triangle, very, very kind of traditional, well-known yoga pose, is exceptionally beneficial, especially good if the arms in the right position, opening the heart area, working on side internal organs and hamstrings on that front leg. Okay, then bend that front knee if you want to push to come up, makes it easier. And then make big circles thinking, oh, thank goodness I'm out of that. 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 And then the other way. Oh, I hope she stops this soon. Oh, I hope she stops this soon. And oh, I hope we stop this soon. And then drop. And then shaky shake. So shaky, shaky, shake. Shaky, shaky, shake. They don't know quite what to make of me on Zoom. Like, they've not seen me do Zoom in this situation. I've not seen me do Zoom in this situation. I don't even know who's watching. Hi, whoever's watching. Right, and then jump. Go, 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 go. So you're flinging the foot out. Yes, nice. And then we dance, we dance, we dance, we dance, we dance. You are dancing. We dance, we dance, we dance, we dance, bounce, 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 bounce. Good. Right, now up into the toes. This is not particularly inspired by watching male ballet dancers do ballet last Saturday or Friday. But this toe lift, so the toes are facing forward, and you lift up, you lift through the foot and down. And if you find you lift up and you go, what I suggest is just do it quicker, because you can actually keep the balance if you do it quicker. Problem is you need to breathe in and out. In and out. In and out. And in and out. And then for the lulls, find a chair or a piece of wood and lean against it. Wall, 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 just, or wall, Karen's fine. Just like this. The wall, sofa, bar, pub, anything really. So you're leaning against it. And why are we doing this? Because we're trying to see if we can lift one leg up a little. And I've got full support here. You don't have to put it on the chair necessarily. If you've got a wall, you just lift it up, hold it up with the other side, see if you can lean it against the wall a bit. Okay, and you'll probably feel you're working tendons and ligaments in here, which is what we want. Breathe out and come down. Turn to the other side. And the same on the other side. It helps if you've got really, really, really long legs. Okay, so you could be up on the back of a sofa, but we're trying to do it side on at the moment. Okay, lovely. Hand release and down. And then you might have felt a pull here. We're working this top area of the thighs a lot. So not just 1, 2 like this, but I'd like you to go back. 1, 2. 2. And again, you can hold on to something. So it could be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Or you could lean back like so. Okay, leaning back like so. And then the other side. Yeah, exactly. So can you see when you've got this support, what we can do is we can pull that thigh even more and breathe into it. And that's really useful. Poses where eventually we're standing that leg back, begins to stretch the top of the thigh, which is a very stubborn muscle really, and then coming back, breathe out, and come into the mountain. And now we're allowed to think, thank goodness, please calm down a bit, we can do some mountain. So think of a mountain, possibly Mount Everest, and just check the foot. So with my feet, I know that I still collapse. I work a lot on this, but I still collapse slightly inwards. So take the awareness into the ankle joint, balance it. If you're the opposite, if you're collapsing outwards, feel in the ankle joint, bring it in. If you're somebody who tends to walk along on the front of your feet, you'll feel that most of the weight is on the front. Steady it out, bring the weight back. And if you're the opposite, that you walk around kind of leaning. So the ideal bit is to even weight 4 points of the feet. Okay? Yeah. Steadying out, the feet underneath this hip joint here. Shoulders back, just roll them back. Hands, shoulder, smile. Okay. Crown of the head lifting. Now relax into it. Shoulder blades slightly together and down. Tailbone slightly tucked under. Abdominal muscles here, just a little engaged. Lovely. Close the eyes. Breathe. And let's allow this Asana, the mountain pose, on us in this moment. Almost as though we step out of the way and we let the pose stabilize us, make us steady, immovable, not easily pushed over, strong. Breathing into it. Okay. So now I'd like us to do the mountain back to back. So Susan, would you mind coming? You don't mind being on Zoom, do you? This is my great friend Susan, another yoga teacher. She's from Scotland. She hasn't quite got a Scottish accent. She's taller than me, so it's going to be tricky. So back to back to find a partner. Maybe you two and you two, yeah. And then we hold hands. Okay. Different sizes. Hopefully contact around the buttocks, pelvis, shoulders, maybe even a bit of the back. Right. Okay, and then we can relax the hands back into their normal position. And you'll feel the weight of your partner just pushing against you. So if you're practicing at home and there's nobody there, except the cat, I would recommend standing against a wall and practice this against a wall. So you want that feeling of you're pushing against something. And as you do that, it's almost as though the plumb line of the yoga energy, you're feeling it moving forward, back, side to side, as the person behind you pushes you slightly. And it gives you a sense of how much we're moving, usually. And then can you bring the arms up to cross out from the shoulders? Hold hands. And then you know where this is going, don't you? Because you've got longer arms than me. And up we go. And again, if you're practicing at home alone, you're simply going up against the wall with the arms. So really lift up if you can. So you open out the armpit area and the lymphatic system around the armpit, front chest. and lift into it, but keep the heel weight steady. Breathing, breathing, breathing. Lovely. And then on one side, the arms come down, just on one side. They agree with your partner or the wall. Which side? And the other one now lifts even more. Can you feel that extra stretch? Extra stretch on that side. Lovely. And then breathing out, coming down on that side. And then see if you can take one hand onto your partner's belly and the other hand comes onto your belly. It's a little bit intimate. We've got giggles. Okay, then pat their belly. This is where you find out that we call my middle-aged spread pat, because every now and again I give it a pat. Okay, pat the belly. Okay. Okay. And releasing out. I should have given you a warning for that, shouldn't I? Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. So, and now we so pat, 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 pat. Hello, Pat. How are you doing? That's doing okay this morning. And then we go round following peristaltic action. So it's like so. It's if I'm looking down, it's clockwise with 12 o'clock, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's clockwise. And that encourages the peristaltic action. How are we doing for time? We're doing good. And that's what we do instinctively to babies who have colic. We rub their tummies. But can you feel how soothing that is? Isn't that nice and soothing? And it's really good if your tummy is just feeling a little bit blah, but it's also good if you're feeling a bit. Just give this abdominal area soothing, calming, clockwise, rubbing like that. Lovely. And then the good news is we can come down to the mat. So this is where you choose your implement. So you may wish to come down at this stage onto a chair. So we're going to do some arm work. You may feel that's perfectly fine, but actually I'm coming down onto the floor. And if so, sit cross-legged. And if that doesn't work, you're my chair. The main thing is to be comfortable at this stage, and also if you need to put your socks on because your feet are going to get cold, do, because I don't want you getting cold. Sometimes I sit on a little block or a cushion, and I start with the right foot on the outside. So the left foot's coming in and the right foot's tucked in next to it if you're sitting cross-legged. If that's hugely uncomfortable, you can sit with the legs out, or you can very sensibly. Okay. So here we are. And what I'd like you to do is palms upwards for a moment and open out again across the collarbone. Collarbone? Yes, collarbone. Like so. And breathe. Close the eyes. Chin down slightly. Okay, lovely. And then, if you're sitting on a chair, hold on to the chair. If you're on the floor, put the palm down on the floor. Slide it away from you a little. Okay, lift the other arm up. Look up. Lovely. Nice. And then bending the base elbow, over we go. So just going as far as you feel comfortable, okay? And let this arm drop a little. Technically, we have even seat, okay? Both buttocks on the floor, even seat. technically. Anybody got even seat? If I go over this far, one buttock's about that much on the floor. yeah. But you know what? In this pose, we just try and keep that knee down. It becomes not quite even seat, but it becomes trying to keep knees on the ground. And then, can you see that you're not going forward with the upper arm? You're actually keeping it in line and back. That's rather splendid. How are you doing at home? Oh, magnificent. You're watching telly and petting the cat. That's cheating. Okay, pushing and coming up, all the way up. They're actually eating an apple. You're not doing yoga at all, guys. And then breathing out down the other side, and over you go. And again, think of even seat, but if you can't do even seat, try and do knees on the ground. And I'm finding it harder this side. Look at my knee. It's coming up. It's coming up. Ooh, Susan, look, it's coming up, my knee. Okay, breathing in, coming up, release out, swap legs. And the other leg is on the outside, you're just fine. We're just going to repeat. So out of interest, I'm going down that side first. So up we go, down. Ah, yes, thought so. I needed the other foot on the outside to keep that knee down. Lovely. Breathe in and up. And then the other way. And I have the same problem. The knee comes up. So some of you are finding you can keep your knees down. I would need to swap the feet over to keep that knee down. Lovely. So could you just have a look at me at the moment? Some of you are really collapsing. If you're really collapsing, just push with that hand, because the really important bit is to keep this open and back. So just push with the hand, come up a bit. Lovely. That's nice. I like. Brilliant. Brilliant. And breathe in, up. Take the legs out. Even sitting on the chair, just take the legs up. Okay. You can place them on the foot. You can wiggle forward on the chair. That's it. Wider. Oh, so here, the adductors. Again, those naughty adductors. Just going to bring it in a little. If you can take them out there, fine by me, but I'm not going to try. So, rib cage up. See up there, on the ceiling, we're in a church hall. So right up at the top is this wonderful, like if it was an arc upside down, that's the bottom of the boat. We're trying to reach that beam up there. Okay, long stretch, opening out, armpit, rib cage lifting, and breathe out. Keep up long in the belly so we don't squidge up those internal organs. So at the moment you might think you go a little, no, you don't have, you can do it from the, yeah, you can. So put the feet down and just come forward, slightly forward. That's it. Fantastic. All right, breathing into it. So if you can't reach the toes, don't worry, somewhere. So is that all right? What I notice is a few of you are going, yeah, take the shoulders down a little. If it hurts at one side, pull that leg in. The main thing is to keep this area, pelvis to ribcage, long. Place the hands actually where you like. Drop the chin to the chest. And breathe, 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 breathe. Breathe, 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 breathe. Breathe, 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 breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Breathe, breathe. Lovely. And then slowly, slowly slide up the leg. Breathe in, hands all the way up to the top. Bring the palms together, like so, into Namaste. And breathing out through the chakras, crown to forehead, the throat to heart, and hopefully the forearms here onto the floor. Okay, And then relax the legs so there's no strain in the legs. And we'll just do the heart work. Is that okay? Heart work is breathing in again. And centering, breathe out. Breathe in, opening the palms at heart level, receiving all the love that exists in the universe from every person, everything to everything. It's happening in this moment. Breathing out, sending to yourself or to another. Letting it pour through you. Breathing in, opening the heart wide, 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 wide. Receiving any love you've ever experienced in your life, any tenderness, any care, any kindness. Breathing out, sending it to you and everything, all sentient beings. And palms go upwards. And we breathe in, and we unfold, and then we breathe out, we come down to the heart. Pause with the eyes closed a moment, a few breaths, relax the shoulders. And we'll do that again. So breathe in, opening. Opens the heart area. Breathe out and down. Lovely. Pressing the thumbs if you can, just against the heart chakra, but keep the shoulders back and down. Lovely. Breathe in, open palms. Breathe out, ending. Breathe in, receiving. Breathe out, sending. Palms upwards, breathe in, and closing, and folding. And feeling the energy as you come down, breathing out. Thumbs to heart. And then last time, we're doing it in silence. So follow through. Remember what we're thinking and visualizing. So close the eyes for a moment. And then breathe out. Bringing the hands down. Resting, shoulders back. Roll the shoulders back a little. And roll the shoulders forward a little. So just lubricating that shoulder joint. Okay. And then what I'd like us to do is to go sideways on our mat. Comfortably so, like so. So if you think you want to see me and you can't see me, you could turn your mat so that you're facing me. But if you can see me fairly well, you're all right. So technically, we look down through the hip joint, knee joint, ankle joint, and shoulder, hip, knee, and ankle are in line. So we're doing this lovely reclining Cleopatra pose where we pick our grapes and our mead. Did they have mead? No, that was medieval times. Well, they had wine because they had the grapes. Okay. And honey and goat's milk. Okay. So your choices with this is you're on the elbow or you're down, resting your head on your hand. Okay. And then here we are at a toga party, reclining. And guess what? So try not to turn the foot. The foot is pointing forward. And up you go. So far, so good. Then you bounce. Little bouncy bouncies. Tell me when you can feel it. very early on. It's quite a strong one in here. And if it helps, you can put the top hand on the floor in front of you. And if you don't say anything, we'll just keep going. 3 hours later. If you're not feeling it, you're probably not going up high enough, and you're not sideways on enough. It's easy to do that way, go on forever that way, but that way, yeah, it's really hard. Okay, and then releasing down. I think they were doing it better than me, honestly. Pause, and then turn the foot and point upwards and go up. That's here, adductors. Okay, breathe out and down. Then push to come up. Guess what? The other side. Reclining back at our toga party. Okay. Okay, so watching you, we've got feet here and we've got feet there. Just try it again, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle in line, and then up we go with the foot facing forward. If you had those trousers soldiers wear on parade with a stripe, the stripe is facing the ceiling. And then up you go and bounce. And tell me if you begin to feel it. No. Okay. And then eventually you've had enough. And relax down. You can rest your hand on the head. Pause and do nothing for a moment. Maybe rub just where we were working, because that's kind of nice. Yeah, that's nice. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. I was reading Susan post about what yoga teachers shouldn't say. And one thing I think it was a Yoga Journal, the American thing. It said you should never say lovely. And I thought, no, that will arc. Let's go, lovely. I even go lovely to myself. That was lovely, Sarah. That was really lovely. And they also said you should, I was telling these guys last week, you should never say guys. I would say guys because it's sexist. I think that's a cultural thing. I think that's an American cultural thing. We definitely use guys like chums and buddies and, so I'm ignoring it. Okay, push to come up. And then, did you do both sides? Oh, we didn't do that one. Susan's right. Don't push to come up. Up we go. That way. Okay. And you can bring the toes down towards the head. You can hold on if you like. And if you've got long arms and short legs, you can hold on to your toes. And if you've got really long legs and short arms, you're in trouble. Okay. And you can also do that. You don't have to hold on to the toes. You can hold on behind the thigh. Thank goodness. Lovely. Okay, bend the knee, coming down. And then I'd like you to turn with your head facing towards me on your tummy. Okay. All right. So you might want to move a little. You can see. So first of all, we're in child watching television pose. Relax the shoulders down. Doing nothing. Tops of the feet, if possible, on the floor, unless the feet are cramping. Okay. And then Sphinx. Okay, and bring the elbows back underneath the shoulders. Okay. And I do love the Sphinx. I think I do the Sphinx more. It's one of the poses I nearly do every time I'm doing yoga. And the reason I like it is we've got the forearms parallel, we've got the middle fingers parallel, hopefully shoulder to elbow is perpendicular. Does it? So you go out a bit. Okay. Yeah. You go out a bit. Okay. It is a proportion thing. So let me just check everybody. When you push up like so, that's good. Lower the shoulder blade. Okay, lovely. Shoulders down. Looking forward. Hello. Okay. And then push with the pelvis into the ground. And hopefully muscles across here, basically just at the top part of the pelvis, engage as you push. And then we also lift further there. So we're keeping, it's almost like, well, yes, I think my belly button actually is on the ground. My pelvis is pushing in, you feel that? I'm pushing up with my head whilst pushing down with my shoulders. Okay, keep breathing into that and try to look straight ahead. So it's engaged. It's engaged. And if you find you're just kind of hanging around, it's easy. Obviously, there's not enough work going on pushing the pelvis. And then, as we did before, these, lovely. And then, this is the best bit if you're walking. You place the sole of the foot on the head, like they're all doing. So we try to lift one foot up towards the head. So if you're an Olympic gymnast there and you've got your sole of your foot on your head, well done. Okay. Oh, can you feel it engage through that buttock? Breathe, 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 and release. Okay, you can let that foot go down completely if it's feeling a bit tired. And then you can go up on the other side, foot to the head. I'm sure in these yoga magazines, when they say what not to say, the foot to the head, they'll all think you're either completely balmy, they'll do themselves an injury. But we know, don't we, Susan, that English yoga students are eminently sensible. Eminently sensible. And anyway, we just roll our eyes and go, yeah, I'm kidding. And then I'd like you to take the knees out wide and the soles of the feet together. Excellent. And bring the hands down, one hand on top of the other, and bring the head up. Shoulders down. Oh, do you see my shoulders went up there? Shoulders down. And bring the heels towards the back of the head. Can you feel that engaged? Breathe, 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 breathe. Very good. Really like this one. Then, can you guess what we're going to do now? Lift. Lift. I can get up 1 millimeter. Half a millimeter. Bring the soles of the feet on the head. Which they all do. Aren't we, guys? Okay, and release. Just let it relax for a moment, but swap the hands. So whichever hand was on top, we place the other hand on top. And then we do it again. Lift. Oh, that's magnificent. Oh, that's magnificent. Whoa. It's really lovely. Isn't it? That's just amazing. The rest of us are also amazing. Amazing. Down we go. And then just, now I know this is not using the hinge joint, but there's no weight going through it as we have a little wriggle from side to side there. We're allowed to do that. Okay, you can even rest your chin on your hands and do that. No weight bearing through that knee joint as we don't do the hingey bit. Okay. And then I'd like you to place you might need to watch me first, place the forehead on the hands. swing the foot side to side, like so. So you're going to the opposite side, and we're actually trying to touch the floor. It's not easy. It's not easy. And one of the tricky bits with this one, because this was designed for prepubescent or teenage boys, they didn't factor in the chest business for women. So what we really need to scoop a little channel out and comfortably settle ourselves into it. Or if it's really uncomfortable, which it is a bit for me, you do it with the chest up by holding on the forearms. You could, but actually that so much better. You can imagine if you were a 9-year-old boy, they wouldn't have this problem on the whole. How are we doing for time? Good. Okay, good. And then push to come up. Okay. So we're now in steady table position, knees underneath the hips, wrists underneath the shoulders, pause, face parallel to the floor. Okay. And just swing a little backwards and forwards. If your wrist joint is not happy, roll up your mat a little and place your whole heel of the hand onto the raised surface. It means that you don't strain that wrist joint so much. Okay, and you're just swinging backwards and forwards. Can you feel that swing? Forwards and back. Okay. If you have some padding, okay, so release. If you have padding, there's my padding. I always think it's a good idea to put your blanket or some padding under those very, very tricky joints. You can also roll your mat up a few pleats. You put a few pleats. So Susan, who's going to India for the first time, I believe, we were staying with me, so we were trying on my Indian clothes, which I keep in a box. So we tried on shalwar kameez and the dapadi, the scarf. And we also tried on saris, and we made beautiful pleats. So I think from now on, I'm going to call these folds pleats. You know, our sari pleats on our mat, our knees and our hands. And so you're borrowing, aren't you? One shalwar kameez, which is the tunic and baggy trousers, and one rather beautiful blue sari. Yes, we can show you pictures. And it's so long since I wore a sari, we had to do it several times for me to remember. And even now I'm saying, get some tips when you're out there and bring the tips back and tell me them. And now I'm swinging back to touch my heels a little and right over my arms, and I can watch, I can let my feet come up. That's it. So back and forward and back. So we've got weight bearing through that wrist joint, which is something it hardly ever does. We've got quite strong movement through the pelvis and hip joint. Look, you see, it's almost, my pelvis is almost on the floor as I come forward. No. Have you not, oh, you've got padding, haven't you? Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, be careful. Be careful. And then again, only if you feel comfortable, you sit back in wide knee and rotate the wrist joint, because the wrist joint will have found that quite hard work. So it's always a good idea to send a message to the brain to lubricate the joint more. See, brain, I'm using the joint. Send more synovial fluid. More. And the brain obliges. Funny brain, it's very, very efficient, and it will not send more lubricating fluid if you're not using that joint. Because why bother? It's a waste. And then people go, oh, I've stiffened up. I think, well, because you're not using it. Not making it do things. Okay, and then round and round. which reminds me when they tried to teach me Indian dance. I think it was my first trip to India, and it just wasn't successful, mainly because I was the wrong build. They were all, their wrists were half the size of my wrist, and everything they were doing, I was feeling more and more like an elephant. It's a bit like, is it Jennifer Saunders or Dawn French when they're doing ballerina? That was it, what it was like. It was like they were all delicate and I was kind of, but a lot of that wrist work going on. And then up again and back. And remember what we were doing before? We did fingers touching, okay, and pushing up the back. If that doesn't work and it feels really uncomfortable, you simply hold on like so, okay? So that's stand position, like so. Right, so if it's really uncomfortable like that, you're coming up onto straight up. And if it's terribly uncomfortable, you sit on the chair. Okay. And then can you push if you've got the hands like so, just pushing them up a little bit, up the back. Okay, up the back. Release the shoulders. Okay. So can you show by a show of hands who's uncomfortable knee-wise in this position? You're all fine, okay, good. Because I wanted you to take one hand around the back, to mirror me, one hand around the back, and the other hand follows it. Push onto the lower pelvis here, okay, and look up, breathe in, look up, breathe out, pause, drop the shoulders. Breathe in, arch back, open the heart area, breathe out, pause, drop the shoulders. Engage the abdominal muscles, open the front throat area. Keep breathing. Keep pushing with the hands into the lower back if you can, as best you can. Lovely back arch. So these are energizing, opening, heart opening, mood lifting, all these back bends. And then the forward bends, we'll go into a forward bend, down, and slide your hands along your mat, like so, lovely. And then you could see if you could push with your hands so that your tailbone comes closer down towards the floor at the back. When you've got that as low as you can go, walk your fingers forward, walk, 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 and go into that full back stretch, and then open out the shoulder blades. Bring the shoulders down. Imagine you're pushing them down to the floor. You'll get that tremendous opening at the back of the heart chakra. Breathing into that, breathing, breathing, breathing. And eventually, after all that hard work, getting into the pose, then let go as though you've fallen asleep in it. You're in the pose, not like we snap back like an elastic back to pre-pose position. We keep it wide in the back, but we let go into the pose, almost as though we step out of the way and let the energy changes happen. And breathe, breathe, breathe. Keep breathing. And if this is really uncomfortable, the good news is if you had like a footstool at home or a low sofa, you could sort of sit on a little stool and just stretch forward along the sofa. Stretch the arms forward. And you can even do it standing and stretch like across a work surface or the dining table. Just stretch, stretch, stretch. And imagine we're opening the spine from the tailbone disc, vertebra, all the way up the spine, right to the neck vertebra, disc, vertebra, all the way up to the skull. Feel you're scrunching up the neck vertebra. See if you can move your forehead a little bit more forward without bringing the tailbone up higher. So tuck the chin in a bit more. Stretch the fingers a little bit more, further away. Breathe, breathe, breathe. So I love this pose because of what's happening in the disc. Lovely and stretchy. It's like, imagine if you grabbed hold of the bar, gymnasium, and then you dangled from it. And your vertebrae are opening out so much that the discs in between, they're fullest, the lovely fullest. And because we've been compressing them front, back, and sides during our work, we now open them to their fullest. They can absorb what they need. When we compress them, going through the membrane wall, and release what they don't need. And we make them happy discs. And I was just about to say lovely again, and then I debated it, and then I thought, this is rather lovely. Pulling the hands back to out where the head is on the mat, and then a little bit further. Push to come up. Take it nice and slow, especially if it's low blood pressure, when you get dizzy easily, like I do. Coming up, coming up, coming up. And then just see how you are. You okay? All right. Okay, and then pause. And the good news is, we've come to the relaxation bit. And so what I'd like you to do is, how many chairs have you got? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 chairs. That's right, isn't it? 4 chairs. Okay. So I think we might use that. So I'd like Therese, I'll bring you that table over. And everybody else, grab a chair and bring it to your mat. If you want to put your socks on, please do. Lower side. Legs on. Legs on. Yes, do show us a trick. Yeah, sure. Pick your chair. On your chair. Well, I go sideways on. Hello. Lovely. Can we do a bit of rolling? So that's how I'd like you to do it at home. Of course, you could use a sofa or a small table or food. So you're here. This works. You roll and you go up. Ta-da! So that's interesting because the way I did it was I would sit like this, the chair's there, and I just go backwards. Oh, similar thing. But I like that. I like that roll. A lovely roll. So the nice thing about this particular pose is you can do it with legs up on the wall, and you can do it with legs resting comfortably, as we demonstrated on the chair. And this looks like just hanging around, not really doing very much. But actually, if you could bring your tailbone into the chair, more, so that the the knee is at right angles to the thigh, like so. So you're bringing your bottom in closer to the chair. Lovely. Or you can also do this one with the legs straight up the wall, which I'll demonstrate in a minute. But it's Viparati Karani as part of the rejuvenating poses. I'm going to just adjust one of my students here. Cozy. Anybody else wants to be cozy? So I'm just tucking them all in with their coats and their blankets and their teddy bears, as you do. Got anything? Oh, you're nice. Slowly adjust. Nice warm feet. Lovely. You want your coat on? All right. How are you? Do you want me to bring your chair closer? Okay. So if you wanted to, you could adjust, and you could do the same kind of action, but going up the wall. And the way I get up a wall in this pose, like to make myself comfy, is to sit side on the wall, like so, comfortably. Like I'm leaning against the wall thinking. And then I roll down and swivel on my pelvis. So the feet are up comfortably. If you're on a block, it's a different Viparati Karani, it's a slightly different rejuvenating pose, but wonderfully beneficial as well. Just lift the pelvis up that little bit higher. You can go up 3 full blocks if you like. And then the shoulders come towards the pelvis, palms are upwards. The toes do what they like, basically, the feet do what they like. So you've got this lovely doing nothing going on in the legs, doing nothing, just hanging about. Literally, you put your feet up. And the face relaxes as though it's melting. The chin tucks in a little. Shoulder blades are wide. You do a little wriggle, shoulder blades wide. Back of the neck, there's 7 vertebrae nice open. Nothing to do. And you might notice how the body's slightly pulsing. So that's not only the blood supply, as we've been working the blood supply around pulsing through the body, but also we've got energy, the prana energy changing through the body from the work we've done in the session. And we allow that to happen. So some of the, I think it's 72,000, or 74,000. Anyway, awful lot of nadi junctions and points in the body. And some we've helped to close that were too open, and some we've helped to open that were too tightly closed. So we've tinkered beautifully with the whole system and brought it more back to equilibrium. And now we just let that almost like soak in, be sealed. We don't dissipate it by getting up, rushing off. We allow it to be nothing to do, nowhere to go. And the breathing, gently quietening down.
And the mind wanders off as it does. And to come back to being aware of the body, being breathed, present in this moment with this breath. And then just when you think your yoga teacher has fallen asleep, you come back to awareness of the room and the floor beneath you. And obviously at home, when you're practicing this pose, the Karani, you can stay in it as long as you like. Legs up wall, shoulders resting on the block on the floor, legs resting on the chair, head at the knee. You don't have to rush out of the pose. You can stay in it half an hour, an hour. If we could see how beneficial it was, if there was some way to calibrate it in the moment, we'd just stay here for ages, thinking, oh, it did me the world of good. Oh, this is brilliant. It is. Let's stay here some longer. But since we're finishing this class today, you can think about coming out of it, going sideways. So if you're like me, legs up the wall, you bend the knees. But as the rest of you have got bent knees already, you just think about rolling over onto your side, taking the knees down to the floor, pausing and coming up. Okay, so rolling right over. If it felt yummy, just remind yourself, I can do this tonight. I'm going to do this tonight. You could even do it before you get into bed. You could do it on your bed. You know, you could kind of put a few pillows up there and just rest of these ones. You could treat yourself. And if you think, oh no, not going to bother, imagine that you've already paid, and this applies to everybody listening on that, you've already paid a £40 voucher, or dollars, or wherever you're listening from. You've already paid for it to do Viparati Kanani this evening before you go to bed. And the voucher is null and void if you don't do it this evening. That was your treat. I've given them all a voucher. Think of it that way. All right. Thank you so much. I hope that helps. Thank you, anybody listening. Enjoy your evening, morning. We're probably going to cafe because we're in the morning here in England. Bye.